Just getting back to this guide. Finally picked up my air intake manifold. We'll have to figure out a few little odd things, you know. All of the little injectors here have a little O-ring that sits in here so that your injector gets seated and all that. And I was hopeful that the my old ones that I had already bought new for the other Eclipse air intake manifold would fit this, but it is smaller. So that's leading me to wonder if the injector's smaller as well, but I'm gonna hope for the best and we'll see what's up. So this guy, let me move where you can see a little better, is filthy. It is just filthy in there. God, Lord knows what happened to this motor. Most likely catastrophic failure, because I mean this is just dirty. And I had done a lot of cleaning on this, but and then of course I painted it because I wanted it to look good, and because it just looked like pitted and nasty. So now it's all together. We just have to figure out the layout of the injectors, and of course all of the little interesting things that this is a little different. I'm not even sure what this will do, if I'm just going to cover it, but this to this is mildly different. What else? Oh yeah, this guy. We're not even certain where that we're going with this. We've got the little guy here. I forget the name of this right now, which is perfect timing, right? And then I have to situate this guy, see where we'll be running it up, because I mean this is kind of ugly, and the turbo is further away than that, so I probably will be going up and through, but of course, that's most likely where I'm going to be running, up and through there. And I have to make sure that I miss my injector and my my fuel rail. This, of course, is the thermostat, and I got to figure out where all of these ones line up with my Eclipse, rest of that stuff. But some of that's kind of something I might leave to the expert, and my manual kind of lacks on visual aids. It just talks about, oh, remove this, remove that, and it's like, okay, well, okay, that's great, but so PCB, EGR, that's what this is. It's the EGR, and a few other little things that I was going to swap from my other air intake manifold, but which is situated over here. Let's get this over in light better. So that's not light, but so this and this guy, this is the air pressure sensor, and I believe this to be the EGR. And then we got this little guy on the side here, which you can't barely see. All of this is like mildly different than for the Hyundai Kia. So this doesn't even have this tube line here, that I'm relatively certain is for the radiator, actually. Radiator fluid. But it's going to be interesting to make this air intake manifold bits all universal for the next situation. Especially because here are, see these two lines? On the Hyundai Kia there are 3, but this one, it does separate into 3 separate places. It just happens to split it down here rather than running them directly from your what would that be? Oh yeah, the throttle body. Hi. So this is what I'm up to. This is how far I've gotten. We'll even see if I'll be able to keep the mount for the fuel rail. This is interesting because I have I bought spacers for this, new, but the ones that I pulled off of the car were really small. So compared to the ones that I had bought online for, I believe, this exact thing, there is a difference. But of course now, this is one step forward. I need to do a lot. I'm sure anyone who knows their shit will know. So here is the air pressure sensor, which is in a completely different location than this one is. Wow, black on black, you can't see anything. But it's similar. I grabbed all the wires and all of that stuff when I junkyard grabbed this guy. So they're similar. Everything's similar. But let me find that one. Here is the EGR. It is nasty. The other interesting thing is it doesn't have that same tube like this guy does right here. Most likely I'm going to take all of the stuff off of here and situate it onto the new air intake manifold. Mainly because I'd like to do that without having to cut and splice all my plugs and all that other stuff. And frankly, I know that this is in good shape, and well, better shape. But I know that this mount here most likely will be different. Well, I know it'll be different because where are you? Oh, here we are. This is 3 lines, right? And mine essentially does the same thing, but it splits the third into a different one. But all the mounting brackets, all of these that are tack welded on to the tubing here, obviously I'll have to do something smart about that. But probably longer tubes and some other fun things to negotiate how this will be different. But yeah, it's moving forward. Hopeful that a lot of little things will kind of figure themselves out. Here to here, like I said, is mildly off, but it's like so little off that I don't think a little over is going to do much. This is a lot of these little screws in here and all of this I'll probably be unable to use for. This is actually for the throttle cable, I believe. No, I know. And this is just like a mount over here that grabbed onto it. The interesting thing too was the throttle body had a mechanical, what do you call it? Instead of a vacuum run cruise control, which is what mine has, it actually was running a mechanical one, so that like when you set it, it just had a second auxiliary cable that it held onto. But it also was on this side, so you had to run the cables out and around and over here, whereas on my car it actually is on this side. So luckily the throttle body fits. It's exactly the same thing as mine was, so I just will be seeing how that all lines up. The other fortunate thing is that my new fuel rail that goes along here, that is a AEM high flow with an actual adaptation for if you wanted to run, you know, illegal stuff on it. But I most likely won't be doing such a thing. But it does clear up a lot of space here because it's nice and thin, you know, long square tube. Looks pretty good. Oh, it looks really good. But yeah, got a lot of colors going on here. But I didn't want to paint this. And someone, you know, I like this. This is like what they call the cast iron duplicolor. I have the same color on the. Wow, I'm having a lot of brain farts today. That's fun. On the transmission, so that this will match the transmission. The block is the block, and then the rest of it, you know, little accoutrements are all purple. Just for really just for fun, and because this was all nasty rusty, and so I did a coating of Rust-Oleum, and then I painted it with the duplicolor purple plum. I mean, that seemed to be doing well. But we will see. Next time we'll be trying to figure out the belts, and I'm debating whether or not I want to paint these. And the reason considering not, well, there's no real good reason. Not that I can excuse myself for. So, hopefully, you know, in the next little bit I'll be taking this over to a mechanic and having him double check everything and make sure I know what's up. And, oh yeah. So, this guy here is your excess, I believe. That's the one there. I have a lot of things to figure out, but there are not a lot of good manuals on the layout of this, so that I can kind of double check. I took photos of it, of course, and other such things to reference later, but it's going to be different. I'm going to be trying to utilize a lot of the parts off of the old air intake manifold to make this all work, but we will see. Fun for everyone. Well, have a good one.